All right, thank you for joining me again. Still TMI. Time for us to delve into, our discussion. Like I told you earlier, we're going to be looking at local government administration and revenue generation. Now, for a country like Nigeria, there are three types of government: the federal, the state, and local government. Now, the essence of this division of government into federal, state, and local is to enable the government to exercise her administration easily and effectively. All right, mark those keywords: easily and effectively. Now, however, the Constitution spells out the functions of each level of government. Generally, it can be said that the governments are responsible for the provision of the collective goods and services on a non-commercial basis, as well as the provision of other social and economic services. Now, looking at this, the big question is then, why has the local government system not functioned properly in Nigeria since our return to democracy in 1999 till today? Why have we had these issues of the local government, some persons would say, being strangulated, some other persons would say an opportunity to settle persons that have helped the state governor or the state government, achieve its aim? However you want to look at that. But joining me to do justice to this morning is a former secretary to local government. I'm talking about Honorable Samson Abu, former local government secretary, already local government. Many thanks for joining me this morning.
Yes, thank you.
All right. So let's just start off straight, sir. Why do we have the local government administration at the point where it is today? Because, I mean, looking at, my opener, you see exactly how the functions of government has been spelled out. And then even the Constitution spells it out clearly, the role of every arm of government, every level of government: the federal, the state, and the local. Out of the three of them, the local government seems to be obviously is the least performing. So why do we have that after over, let's say, about 18 years of democracy right now?
Thank you. You see, the Constitution spelled it out clearly.
Okay.
You have three tiers of government: the federal, the state, and the local government.
Okay.
Incidentally, the local government is the third tier of government. Apart from the Constitution, local government, they are guided by what is called local government law.
All right.
For example, in Edo State, the administration of local government, as at now, put together by Edo State House of Assembly, we call it Local Government Law of 2000 and as amended.
All right.
2000. So basically, they operate within the framework of that local government law. Otherwise, you get into a problem. Local government problems is not is peculiar to other tiers of government, but depends on the management, on the way you handle it, the person at the helm of affair. You see, not that local government cannot operate effectively well, but you also have another government arm that is watching, monitoring closely the administration of local government. We call it Local Government Service Commission.
Okay.
They are there. If you go to some local government, for example, in Oredu, where I served one time as secretary, that was the worst time local government I've ever had during the time of Dr. Nosaima as chairman, where at that time, if you take the statistics of the staff strength of teachers in Oredu, it's even more than Niger State, more than Benue State. Oredu was the second largest local government that had the highest number of teachers, apart from one local government in Oyo that time. Now, our way be that time for teacher salary was about 120 or thereabout. We pay teacher salary. Thereabout, if you go to, we have to do what is called staff verification of teachers, where I was the chairman. I went around all the schools in Oredo. I discovered that in one school, you have HM2, HM3, where you have a staff strength of 20, HM2, HM3 of about 7. And these people, many of them are not, they are not from Edo State. So all we need that, we were planning that time that they should jack meeting. You know the meaning of jack?
So
joint allocation committee meeting, where they share the revenue allocation from the federation account, called the statutory allocation.
Yeah.
That they should remove teacher salary first. Then whatever is left, they should share it to the local government. So some local government chair may agree, while some disagree. Basically, the body now fall on Oredo, where we have about the highest number of all the teachers put together. The 17 local government teachers put together is not up to Oredo, because Oredo is a cosmopolitan local government where you have people, is the state capital, where you have people, wife of commissioner, wife of permanent secretary, wife of board member, they are all residing in Oredo, and they want their wives to work here. Those ones that are married, they have their wives to work here.
Okay, well, how did all of this affect local government administration? Because that's my question right now.
Okay.
How did we get to this point as regards local government administration? Where it's almost
local government administration is more or less like the more you look, the less you see, without reservation.
Okay.
Yeah, because let us talk of the 3 local government now: Oredo, Ego, Ikpobaha. See, in local government, you have what is called, maybe for next year now, 2018, you prepare a budget. You send it to the legislative arm.
Okay.
They will pass the budget. You are going to operate in 2018 within the framework limitation in the budget. Okay. You cannot deviate.
Same with the federal and state government.
Yes.
Too,
if there is need for you to alter anything, maybe you want to add, then you prepare a supplementary budget.
Okay.
And send it to the leaders to do. Thereafter, during the course of implementation, you consider your income. Listen very well, where they will get it wrong. You consider your income. The money you get at the end of every month. You consider it. Now, the income of local government is made up of, look at it, the statutory allocation. The statutory allocation from the federal, where they disburse every month. That is 1. Then 2 is part of the income. Then 2, IGRO.
Okay.
Internally generated revenue. Then 3, grant in aid. Are you listening?
Yeah.
Grant in aid, if any, what they not call payout. You put all of them together in 1 month. The statutory allocation, IGRO, grant in aid, if any, put them together. If they are made, for example, they are 18 million, which means for that outcome, the income of a local government is 18 million. Then you now go back, you prepare your budget sectorially. That is sector by head, sector, education, health, this, that. You are now in the course of implementing it.
Okay.
You know? Then you prepare what is called, you now have expenditure. If you have 18 million, you are going to spend 18 million for 1 month. Then before you, let me tell you now, you see statutory allocation from the education account, you form the base of the income. You now have income now. Income, you now have the money, I said 18 million. You want to spend it now, you don't spend the money anyhow. All you need to do is, you now have another area where you have capital expenditure and recurrent expenditure.
Okay.
Capital expenditure and recurrent expenditure. Capital expenditure, before you spend the you now go back to your budget. Are you listening? What do I have in the budget? I want to tie road, build school, market, and the rest of them. maybe you will appropriate 8 million or 9 million out of 80 million for that capital expenditure. That is where the public, the voters, the masses will benefit from. Then the recurrent expenditure, recurrent expenditure, money for salaries, money for leave.
Let's just say running cost.
Running cost.
Good.
Running cost. If the running cost is 6 million, 6 plus 8 million, that is 14 million. Already. You still have a balance of 4 million from the total, from the income. Yeah. You understand? That one will go to the savings. But then, the local government, head of local government can run into a problem. If you have 18 million, then your expenditure, capital expenditure is 3 million, recurrent expenditure is 15 million. That one will not give you 18 million. You now exhaust your income for that month, which means there is something happening, because they are expected to brief the House of Assembly on quarterly basis. What you have done for the first 4 months, based on your income, one, your expenditure, which is subdivided into capital and recurrent expenditure. If you now tell the House of Assembly members that you spent for capital expenditure, you spent 3 million and spent 50 million for the current expenditure, which is something is wrong somewhere. You cannot allow your recurrent expenditure to overshadow your capital expenditure. You are in problem.
All right. So are you saying in essence that the reason we have local government administration across Nigeria at the point where it is an issue of mismanagement?
Yes.
It's an issue of mismanagement.
Not actually, mismanagement is part of it.
Okay.
This mismanagement.
My question is why? What's the major problem? Since you say mismanagement is part of it, what's
of
the
the local
problem?
governments, because if you look at our time now, when we look at it, that our allocation from federation account after removing teacher salary, we go home with nothing. We go to the office with nothing. And we have recurrent expenditure, we have capital expenditure. We put our heads together. As the SLG, SLG, Secretary to Local Government, I called my chairman, Dr. Nosaima, and maybe he's watching this program now. I told him that we have to look inward. How we have to intensify our revenue generation. That is the IGR. Fine. Thank God at that time, we have to look at the whole thing again. We charge our revenue collectors. We charge our revenue and we gave them target. For example, in Obamacare at that time, Obamacare, before we took over, it was being handled by Simbama Wu and Co. And when they saw that, the governor saw that already we are not getting anything, he handed Obamacare to Uredo. It was during our time. Obamacare was being managed by state.
Okay.
For us to beef up the IGR of Uredo, the governor then handed over Obamacare to Uredo. That was Chief Lucky Binedo.
All right.
Yeah, give it to Uredo. And we're in Uredo, we have a local store, open store, double lockup. We have squatters, we have attachments. So at the end of every month, we have to look at it with 4 eyes, how we are going to generate revenue, because we must pay our workers and do some other things. So we are receiving over 20 million monthly from Obamacare at the end of the month. Then also we went to Ecusa. Then we went to these motor parks. Private motor parks owner, we ensure that they pay. There are other things that, like, because you know local government operate by bylaw. Bylaw, we look at the bylaw. We told the legislative one to look at the bylaw and make a copy available to us. There are areas we have to collect liquor license. We have to collect some tenement rates. We have to collect some other things. We put everything together. Then at the end of the month, we were no longer crying. You know that time they nicknamed Ehima zero allocation. If you heard of it,
yeah, true.
Yeah, that's zero allocation. We were no longer crying for statutory allocation from the federation account, because that one will be swallowed. We even had minus to pay teachers' salary. So we were able to manage the 3 years tenure of our administration with IGR. Okay. Unless one or twice when we have what is called money from excess crude oil. money from SSO. If you are not able to pay workers, all we need to do is to get OD. We get OD from the bank as overdraft. We get overdraft from the bank. Then before the other month, we'll settle the payment. Because actually the money from the statutory allocation is not enough to pay teacher salary.
All right.
That was why we wanted to use the saying that if you are not non-indigent of the state, we wanted to release them to their states. But forces, they came in and said that no, we are one Nigeria, we should not do that.
I was going to ask, because at some point, some state governments actually did that, sending people not from the states back to their own states. And the question for me was, would this not engender division? Because it's not more about where you're from than what you can offer the system. But let's leave that apart. Let's talk, revenue generation right now by local governments and the administration of the revenue generated. Now, take for instance, presently, there's been a whole lot of clamor as regards revenue generation when it comes to markets in Edo State, especially within Benin City. We've seen protests just because, the monies they're supposed to pay was increased. Do you think people will complain so much if the monies collected in form of taxes and levies and all of that, to make for revenue generation, the use is very visible? Do you think people would complain? Because the reason for revenue generation for local governments is to be able to implement projects at the grassroots that would touch people. So if all of these monies are put judiciously to use, would people be complaining about taxes and levies and all of that?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Let me use commercial vehicle drivers for example. Before Obaseki came on board, the least amount being paid by these commercial bosses to revenue collectors, I don't know, to revenue collectors, those contractors, the list was 1,600 a day.
Okay.
1,600 naira per vehicle, the list. Then that time, if you take a bus from Ring Road, to Ekenwa Road, by Erejawa Junction or Gbuyoko, it was 50 naira. To Gbuyoko, Erejawa Junction, 50 naira. Aerodrome Close, 50 naira. You multiply this route from Ring Road to Ugbobo, you know how much you pay.
Yeah.
Now, Governor Obaseki now reduce those payments. You understand? He now reduce it. The highest they are now paying now is 200 naira. Abi? If you want to enter bus now from Ring Road or Mobi along Ekenwa Road to Erejawa Junction, it's 100 naira. To Ugbuyoko, it's 150. To Erejawa, it's 100 naira. Uselugbowo Wire Road to Megate, 100 naira. To Luku, 150. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
So what is the problem?
No, now, why is that? Instead of them to, at least to show, they should have reduced it since from 1,006 to 200 naira. It should have been from Ekenwa Road to this either 20 or 30 naira. You get what I'm saying? But it's skyrocketed. So what are they talking about? Now, those storage people, are you talking of the stores in Lagos? They are talking of whether Oba markets.
We've seen protests from even traders at Oba markets.
Oba market. Let me quickly answer. Yeah, thank you. Let me tell you one thing. If you want to go in detail, those traders, they have no cause to complain.
With the hike,
I'm telling you,
from about 3,000
I am telling you
to about 50,000.
I am telling you. You can bring any of their leaders to this studio so that we can iron it out. I will open them up. Let me tell you.
But don't you think?
Let me tell you before you conclude. Let me tell you.
I'm not concluding.
Everything about market. I have everything. I said that market was being managed by state because it was built by state. State said they want to get their money first before they now hand it over to local government. That market was shared during the time of His Excellency John Odigye Oyegu.
Okay.
The person that was in charge that time was P.S. Omoragbo, was in government house.
Okay.
You understand? You have different categories of stores there. The stores, they were allocated to different people and not traders. They were different people. You know what I mean?
I do.
Big shots, they got that their own. Now, when we took over, when Lucky Breno gave us that market, I went into what is called in the council ledger. I called them to reapply. I was the secretary. When they will come, see, the person that will bring allocation paper will be different. The person that will be in the store will be different. I now discover that double lock-off store, that as at that time they were paying either 20 or 30,000 to the council. The owner will now sublet that store to a trader. The trader will be paying 300,000, 200,000 per annum. The owner will now in turn come to council and pay just a token of 20,000. If you go to the markets now and verify their allocation paper, those people protesting, they are not the owner of the stores. They rented it for one person or the other. So their problem now is that they want to pay so much to government and they are paying so much to the owner of the store. Do you understand what I'm saying? I watched them on air. I said, this is their problem. If they are the owner, they don't bother. But how many of them, those people there, how many of them that are paying storage fees, how many of them are the owner? Tell them to bring, if you say your local store AB 60, bring your allocation paper. We have all their names in the ledger. It's in the council.
All right. So since you know all of this, don't you also think the local government is supposed to be, the nearest government to the grassroots? That's what it's supposed to be, which means it's supposed to fight for the people in the grassroots and make life better for the people at the grassroots. And you're aware of all of this. You served, as local government secretary in Oredu, which is almost where we're having all of these issues right now. Why, at that time, did the local government not take out time, to sort out all of these issues, looking ahead that it might become a problem in the future? Because you knew then, like you mentioned, that the owners of the shops were not the persons trading there. They were paying paltry sums to the local government as tax and collecting huge from the persons that rented the shops, which I think if I rent it out, it's my personal business. But then, who does the monitoring and checking of all of these things? Shouldn't it be the local government?
Yeah,
just to make sure that the people do not suffer.
There are extent the local government can go into that issue. For example, the issue of ownership has to be determined. If they allow what the local government ought to do is to revoke the allocation paper and ask them to reapply.
So did you do that?
No, I'm telling you of the present local government.
No, I'm asking during your time, did you do that?
That we revoked?
Yes.
And reapply? No, we're not having such problem.
Okay.
We're not having such problem at all. We know we took over this allocation and everything from the state government. So they just give it to us. So we're happy. We're not having time to go into, for example, if I tell you some of the big names that are having stores there.
There's no need to mention that. My issue is, I think government should be more proactive than reactive. So we're having this problem right now. I'm not really blaming it on your tenure or your generation of local government administration, but I'm saying, wouldn't it have been possible for you guys at the time to have seen the future and then try to nip this whole occurrence right now? Because if you had done all of what you're saying these people should do now, they won't be having these issues. These protests won't have come up. People won't have to go through what they're going through right now. Because imagine telling a trader to pay 50,000.
Let me quickly say, during our time, you see, the state gave us the market.
Okay.
Now, the man in charge, I said more PS or Moragbo was in government, was in charge.
Okay.
So we had a meeting with him. They shared the stores.
Before it was handed over to
Before it was handed over to. So if we that are now begging for these things, they were now coming back to fault the allocation, which means we are ungrateful.
No, it wouldn't be faulting. It would be
No.
It would be seeing the future and trying to solve the problem of the future.
They handed over the ledger to us.
Okay.
You understand? Where it contains the names of all the people that were given stores allocation. Now, you are just receiving it. I will not tell PS Moragbo, no, this one, let us verify and the rest of it. You are probing the allocation.
Okay.
You go as at that time. So we have to be very, very careful. As if we are probing. But this time around, it can be done because the local government has taken full charge of that market. Okay. They can't do anything at this moment. Because that market, that time, the agreement between the state and local government was still there. The local government has not even paid even 1 kobo to state for building that market. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
So for building that market, the government just say, okay, you go and take over.
So
the local government is still owing already. But for this time, the issue of that demonstration, I like this question. I like this issue for coming out. The issue of that demonstration is that if those people are not careful, they will push the council to take certain decisions. The council can say, okay, all the allocation paper revoked, reapply. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Reapply. Then you not come to the council. Before you reapply, you must pay a deposit of this, this, which is not refundable.
Okay.
They now go. The trader, if that what the trader is fighting, the trader will not gain it. The local government now make it categorically clear. If you are not a trader, established trader, a no trader, you cannot get one store, even attachment.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So if by the time they do it like that, so traders now, they are the second or the third party now. You see local government, you see the owner, and you see the traders.
Okay.
So if the traders are not dealing directly with the local government, they have cause they will not have cause to complain.
Okay. All right. Let's quickly move on because of time. Let's begin to look at, the issue of revenue generation, which is our main focus as regards local government administration today. How can we, get to that point where local governments can considerably not depend on the state government for finances, not depend on the federation account for money, because I mean, the local government is supposed to be able to run itself,
stand on its own,
apart from supervision from the state government, which is what the constitution states. It should be able to generate its own revenue totally and run itself. So how can we get to that point?
I think we are gradually moving to that stage now, that point now, because I'm aware that the state governor has come out to assist the local government by way of revenue generation. If you look at it now, the POS, no contractor, the POS they are now using now, I think it's working successfully now. Being tested in some local government like Oredo, Ikmobaoka, Anigo, where they are basically doing test run. They are using the commercial vehicles now and escorters. You understand? I think it's using positive result for the council and the state government. Okay. By and large, so
you're saying it's something other states can adopt also?
That's what I'm saying. It's a new system and it's working out. It's working out fine.
All right.
But what I'm saying is that because there is no way local government cannot. If you look at it now, when they are using the POS for collection, people don't know. People are confused. Who's taking the money? Where's the money going to? No. They are using the POS. There's what is called a dashboard. Dashboard is centrally located in government house and IROS. Okay. Dashboard is located in government house and IROS. That is Internal Revenue Service. Internal Revenue Service will monitor it.
Okay.
Then in the government house, they have a dashboard room. They will monitor it. How much you have collected so far? That was why the governor, the state governor, the other day, you know, have to come out categorically to tell some local government that they are doing well. You understand? Okay. It's encouraged by the way it's happy with, by the way they are doing the collection now. Because it has its own dashboard there that is looking, is watching. They also have their own in Internal Revenue Service. If that thing continues like this and go around the 18 local government, you will see that their IGR will be properly monitored. So to know there will be no leakage from one point or the other.
There will be no leakage in internally generated revenue. But will there be leakage as regards managing the revenue generated?
Well, it depends on the council, because I know
that has been the bane of local government.
Yes, it depends on the council, because you can have 800 million in the council, even as a bailout or as a windfall. You can have it, and then you can spend it in 14 days.
And it will still be mismanaged.
Yeah,
I think you can get into the pockets of persons.
That is the essence of House of Assembly being there for them.
The House of Assembly has always been there, and still we have always heard of cases of misappropriation, money stolen from local governments and all of that.
You must brief House of Assembly on quarterly basis. How much you receive, how you spend the money. You must tell the House of Assembly.
Local governments across the country do that. Still find ways to, move money out.
How?
So prior to this time, I mean, it's always been, from time to time, you'd hear this local government chairman being probed for, missing funds and all of that. And then you even find out local government chairman living beyond their means. How is that possible? Definitely monies from, the local government. So even with the reports to the House of Assembly, it's still an issue.
Anyway, yes, there was an issue when I was secretary. Emma was there, and an issue came up in the House. We went there for briefing. And that, I think it was Pascal Bome that raised the issue that borders on what you are trying to say. Then we have to come out. They have to give us another date. We went back to put our house in order, put our books in order. We came back to them, we go to explain to them. There was no hidden agenda. Money is not missing anywhere.
I'm not really focusing on your own time now, because that's in the past. We're looking at moving ahead. Currently in Edo State, the governor has been able to put mechanism in place for various local governments to survive and not get back to that point where they were owing salaries and all of that. He's working really hard on that one. But then my issue is the corruption in governance at local government level. So I hope it wouldn't be, after all of these monies are generated. That's my question.
But for now,
corruption being the problem, because generating money is another thing. Putting the money to use so the people at the grassroots, rural areas, can feel the impact.
I'm telling you, for now, the local government of today or in the future will not be like the local government of the past. Because, you see, when local government are fighting for autonomy, I laughed. Because they are being monitored by states and House of Assembly. The issue of corruption is still there. What if they are on their own? Which means the voters, the common man on the street will suffer a lot. But that's aside. You see, presently, there is no elected local government chairman and councillors from last year to this time. With the present governor, look, it's not going to be business as usual in the local government. Are you listening?
Yeah,
it's not going to be business as usual. For the past, I don't know. But from the way the governor is going, people will even be discouraged from contesting as council chairman. Because there will be no leakage at all. It will not give room for leakages. You get what I'm saying? But for this one now, in the past, things have been going wrong. But for the present time, right from Governor Obaseki's time, people will be discouraged from even contesting as a council chair because the governor wants the local government to pay staff. He wants the local government to live up to their expectation. The 3 tiers of government, they have their own functions to perform to the people. They have the feeder roads, they have the schools, they have the market, they have a health center, they have all the governor wants them to take charge of their own responsibility, not the state government coming in to assist the local government. That is why I want to streamline things for them. That is why I said the local government of today or future will not be like local government of the past. It's a different ball game now. If you look at the way things are now going, every kobo collected by local government will be accounted for. So we are going to see, with its time, thank God, very soon there will be local government election. We are going to see a different council now and a different administration. That's what we are going to see. I'm telling you.
All right. Definitely. We're wrapping all of this.
Those corrupt practices will be a thing of the past. You can't do it when Governor Obaseki is as governor. He's going to assist them.
Okay. So you know, same thing people have clamored for all the time. I mean, what happens after, you know, this current administration at the state level, you know, is done and over with? Another administration comes on board. Should it be about the fear of the governor, or should it be about the fact that institutions has been put in place and strengthened to make sure that nobody, even in the next 100 years, is able to steal government money at local government level and deprive the people of what they're supposed to get?
Well, I don't want to cross the hurdle before I get there. Time will determine that one. If Obaseki tenure is over, another government now enter. If he decides to change the status quo.
No, it's not about people. Government is a continuum.
Yes.
It should continue. So the thing is, shouldn't institutions be put in place, strengthen institutions to check and make sure and monitor to make sure, you know, people can come into government and steal, especially at local government level.
Okay.
That's where the people feel the pulse of
yes,
government.
yes. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. Let's watch Obaseki. He has a plan for all these things. It's an economic wizard and a master planner. So he has a plan for all these things. Just give him time. People are complaining. I said, don't complain. Just give him time. Look at this ESMA now. ESMA, they are doing fine. Highly respected now. Unlike the previous, traffic.
It's all right. I'm going to say thank you very much, Honorable Samson Abu, for coming through this morning. Thank you so much. And that's how we wrap it up on this discussion. But do remember, like I'd always say, keep the conversation going. Share your thoughts with us as regards local government administration and revenue generation across Nigeria, not just within Edo State. Share your thoughts with us. What do you think can be done to make it better? What do you think can be done to make the people feel the pulse of